Good morning, Divine Masculines, and welcome to the Divine Masculine channel of Earth Angel. Today, our topic is about insults and how to heal from the past insults. That is the topic today. It's a very critical and important topic. I just have about a few points in brief to mention over here, which you must ponder upon for self. So, as the protagonist of our healing process is the self, and we have to work on self. Now, everybody advises about the work that has to be conducted upon self-development, self-progress, self-esteem, and other requirements of self. Sorry. But what is the process that we have to actually find out? So in this pathfinding, I am there with you, and every bit of self healing is based on every moment's self work or work upon yourself. Please excuse me. So today we will begin with the insults that self receives from outside itself. Okay, so you must begin with the fact that self is absolutely I would say a critical personification, I would say, of your conscience. Now, in this critical situation, the more critical and the more positive you are towards yourself, or yourself is capable of maintaining an attitude, the better the results will be. So now what you have to do is you have to be very positive and very critical every moment with yourself. Okay, now this self has to also minimize the self-pity. Okay, in every moment's uncomfortable situations, we have a tendency or inclination to bring to the self some kind of pity, sympathy, some kind of compassion. This must be absolutely avoided. I think whatever happens, whatever is taking place outside the self, you the self is not responsible for it. So please step away from this involvement and try to witness it as a third party. Stand away from you and the incident. Being a self, just be the self. Okay, and the self is just a witness of what is happening. Do not involve deep into things with the help of emotions or other kind of expectations. Now, emotion and expectation I will take up for another 10 to 15 minutes discussion in the next episode. Here it is not to be discussed because that is an elaborate it has some elaborate points to be pondered upon, that has to be taken separately. Now so minimize your self-pity and let the self focus and concentrate on self-accentuation and self-appraisals when others are insulting, on the face of the insult itself. Okay, number 3, so you, in other words, you alienate the insult. Do not accept it as your own. It is an alien to you. Do not accept it. Do not let the alien cross the border and step into the territory of the trespass into the territory of the self. Next, we have to see that we can scrutinize meticulously the cause of the insult and not the relation with the person. That is very important. Now, dealing with the cause, for example, a cause to be toxic, okay, the toxic people, and then avoid them. Okay, first, if you have found out that the cause of insult was because of the toxic person, someone was very toxic in character and personality, which is why he was insulting the self of yours, in that case, avoid those people or the situations, and keep yourself in healthy circumstances. Or if you see that the cause of the self insult could be self weakness of yours, then you have to strengthen the self, build upon self strength. This is very important. Okay, so if you up to here, if you do these antipathy applications upon self, then you're going to see that insults are absolutely low quality balloons which can be pricked within a moment. And also the weaknesses of the people will be very visible to you, which you are burdened, yourself gets burdened with. That has to be very clearly, with clarity, you must view those weaknesses. So once you are strong, then only you will be able to view the weakness on the other side. Then you have to do work, quite a lot of work towards the strengths and perfections of self-discipline, to keep yourself strong and I would say ironclad, absolutely, from weak situations. Insults are absolutely weak situations. Okay, these are not strong situations. So from insults and weak situations, if you want to guard yourself, or if you want to become immune of such things, you have to maintain self-discipline routine towards perfection of actions and thoughts, both. Next, I would suggest, most importantly, you must remember every moment that self is not responsible for outsiders' actions. The behavior and the actions of the outsiders are their weaknesses or strengths. It's not yours. So they may be weak in social or moral interactions. They may not have much of strength to show up with strong behavior towards others. So the disease is not yours, or the disease is not the self of yours. The disease belongs to some other self. That self has to correct its disease, work towards the correction of the disease, and you have to work towards your correction of prohibition from allowing that contagious disease to attack you or to invade your health, mental health, mind's health, everything. Okay? Next point we would have to also mention here, that we must learn to forget and forgive. Everyone would advise you forget and forgive, but what is actually, let us factorize what is it actually, what has to be done towards this phrase of action that is advised to us. Now, forget means do not repetitively envision that weak action of insult in your brain. Do not view it, do not envision that action continuously. Every moment, the moments that you are viewing that action, you are bringing about repetitive performance of that same insult to the self of yours. That you have to stop. This can be stopped by being busy in some creative work, making yourself very busy. Your brain must be busy in deep, creative, healthy and knowledgeable thinking every moment. It should not involve in any kind of magnifying attitude of such kind of I would say irrelevant actions. And then there is the word forgive. After forgetting, you have to forgive also. Now, forgive comes why? Anyone insults the self unnecessarily in public, the question will arise that why should we forgive such actions, such illegitimate actions, I would say, such unbearable, unendurable actions. Forgive is why, because there is a reason why we are why it is necessary, and why we are bound to forgive. Once you decide to forgive actions of others, you have accepted the meaning of the fact that those people are wounded, they are sufferers, they are weak, and they are diseased. You have first, the acceptance is visible from the attitude of forgiveness. And in the next stage of the forgiveness attitude, you can also see that after this acceptance of the weakness of others, you have paved a way towards yourself of some kind of I would say strong position where you're ready to give other people some time to recover, some time to learn, understand, and develop themselves before you start judging them. So when we are judging others, we must understand that they need to learn. So judgment has no place at the moment. Judgment is only for, forcing people to learn. That is why God brings about some kind of judgment, or time brings about some kind of judgment upon the self. Because sometimes we are not appearing with the readiness of learning lessons from incidents and from experiences, which is why time is compelled to bring judgment upon us by enforcing that learning, or at least attempting to enforce that learning. So forgiveness will bring about all these aspects towards the other side, and for yourself it will give you an opportunity to understand that you are strong enough to allow space for everyone's learning. All the weak peoples, or all the juniors, the ones that are below you or behind you in their progress, you are capable of giving them some chance to learn, and at the same time simultaneously remaining unaffected also. This is the meaning of it. And last of all, but not the least, I would say value your time. You see, the time that you have, or yourself has for itself, is limited. All of our lives have some limited span. It begins and ends within that span. Whatever conduct we have to perform, we have to complete it. It's like an examination hours. The whistle is blown, the action begins, and we have to write out our answers within that span of time. Before the completion of time, we have to complete our papers, our answer sheets. Okay, so we have to value time. We have no space to waste our time. So now in this regard of time, what are the considerations that we have to actually allow to intercept our decisions? The considerations that must intercept the self-decision is why I'm saying is because, for example, someone must be thinking of being loyal to someone. That is very virtuous, very good thought, and it should be considered moral. Okay, so when A is involved with B, A decides to be loyal to B until any consequence that occurs in life, which is absolutely valid and supportive of moral acceptance. But provided, has A inquired upon the consideration that the loyalty which costs a huge amount of time and efforts throughout that time of mental, physical, moral, virtuous, all sorts of values that time takes up. All those investments of time that A has considered to make for B, has A considered the fact that B deserves it, or A deserves to give B those investments, to invest into B those valuables or worthies? This has to be first deduced. Without a hasteful and impulsive decision is not a correct decision. So decisions of loyalty are welcome, they are virtuous, but whether the decision is where the investment of such huge valuables that actually take up a lot of time, perhaps the entire lifetime span is drained out of a person, for example A. Now, without considering he is investing into another person, the consequences of failures. Okay, now if you are investing, if your self is investing into another self which does not deserve, these valuables, you have wasted the entire answer sheet of yours writing a wrong answer for the wrong question. So where what is deserving, this discernment, this deduction is experimental, and before coming to a final decisive conclusion, complete that experiment. Wait till you get the results, till you get the after observation and after experiments and interactions of by the formula of chemistry, I would say, by the formula of understanding the reaction of the people. Try to deduce everything. Try to see what yourself deserves, and does that deserving self of yours match with the deserving of the other. So this tallying business is very important to save the value of time. And once you have done this tallying, then you can take a clear decision about where you're going to invest this valuable time of the self. And we must also remember, however, that insult is always very cheap. It is a cheaper path, and respect of oneself must be all the time unperturbed and consistent. And to thrive on the self-respect, we have to, as I told you, we have to, and from this moment we decide to take all the insults, all the unwanted actions taken by others against us. Let us treat it as garbage, trash, and let us understand the value of time, as we don't have time to retaliate such unwanted things. Instead, we have only time, valuable time, to work towards our progress, to prove our actions otherwise. Not by words, not verbal or oral proof, but it has to be solid work to prove our actions. And all sorts of insults, I would say, can be deduced as manipulatives, because a person who wants to manipulate in a negative manner will take the path of insult. When the person feels that he has no control over the self of yours, that person will take the path of insult, so that it becomes it is an enforcement upon the other person to prove otherwise and follow the commands of the manipulative of insult. So insult is a manipulation. Do not take it seriously. Just see through the insults of that person, what that person is seeking out for himself. Sometimes he's seeking out control, sometimes he's seeking out some advantage from self of yours. Sometimes he will seek out some kind of blame game from any kind of advantage and control. These are the two gist of the manipulative words that he'll be seeking out. And hope this helps you, and with a prayer for all of you to a deeper understanding of perceptions, of strengthening the self within you, I end this discussion. Thank you.